Fargo, however, heard that low laughter and looked up with surprise on his face. The two men stood side by side, kicking the embers about before going to bed. It was 10 o'clock, a late hour for hunters to be still awake. "What's tickling you?" he asked in his ordinary voice, yet gravely. I was thinking of our little toy woods at home just at that moment," stammered Simpson, coming back to what really dominated his mind, and comparing them to all this. A pause followed, and neither of them said anything. "All the same, I wouldn't laugh about it if I was you," DeFago added, looking over Simpson's shoulder into the shadows. "There's places in there nobody won't ever see. Nobody knows what lives in there either." "Too big? Too far off?" DeFago nodded. The expression on his face was dark. He too felt uneasy. The younger man understood that in a hinterland of this size, there might well be depths of wood that would never in the life of the world be known or trodden. The thought was not exactly the sort he welcomed. In a loud voice, cheerfully, he suggested that it was time for bed. But the guide lingered, tinkering with the fire. Evidently there was something he wanted to say, but found it difficult to get at. "Say, Boss Simpson," he began suddenly, as the last shower of sparks went up into the air, "you don't smell nothing, do you? Nothing particular, I mean?" The commonplace question, Simpson realized, veiled a dreadfully serious thought. A shiver ran down his back. "Nothing but burning wood," he replied firmly, kicking at the embers. The sound of his own foot made him start. "And all the evening you ain't smelled nothing?" persisted the guide. "Nothing extraordinary or different to anything you ever smelled before?" No, man, nothing at all," he replied aggressively, half angrily. DeFago's face cleared. "That's good," he exclaimed. "That's good to hear." "Have you?" asked Simpson sharply, and the same instant regretted the question. The Canadian came closer in the darkness. He shook his head. "I guess not," he said. "It must have been just that song of mine that did it. It's the song they sing in lumber camps and godforsaken places like that, when they're scared the Wendigos somewhere around, doing a bit of swift traveling." "And what's the Wendigo, pray?" Simpson asked quickly, irritated because, again, he could not prevent that sudden shiver of the nerves. He knew that he was close upon the man's terror and the cause of it, yet a rushing, passionate curiosity overcome his better judgment and his fear. DeFago turned swiftly and looked at him as though he were suddenly about to shriek. His eyes shone, but his mouth was wide open. Yet all he said, or whispered rather, for his voice sank very low, was, "It's nothing. Nothing but those lousy fellers believe when they've been hitting the bottle too long. A sort of great animal that lives up yonder." He jerked his head northwards. "Quick as lightning in its tracks and bigger than anything in the bush. And ain't supposed to be very good to look at. That's all." "A backwoods superstition," began Simpson, moving hastily toward the tent in order to shake out the hand of the guide who clutched his arm. Come, hurry up for God's sakes, get the lantern going. It's time we were in bed to sleep. We're going to be up with the sun tomorrow." The guide was close on his heels. "I'm coming," he answered out of the darkness. And after a slight delay, he appeared to the lantern hanging from a rail in the front pole of the tent. The shadows of 100 trees shifted their places quickly as he did so, and when he stumbled over the rope, diving swiftly inside, the whole tent trembled as though a gust of wind struck it. The two men lay down without undressing, upon their beds of soft balsam boughs, cunningly arranged. Inside, all was warm and cozy, but outside, the world of crowding trees was pressed close about them, marshalling their million shadows and smothering the little tent that stood there like a wee white shell facing the ocean of tremendous forest. Between the two lonely figures within, however, there pressed another shadow that was not a shadow for the night. It was the shadow cast by the strange fear, never wholly exorcised, that had leaped suddenly upon DeFago in the middle of his singing. And Simpson, as he lay there, watching the darkness through the open flap of the tent, ready to plunge into the fragrant abyss of sleep, knew first that unique and profound stillness of a primeval forest when no wind stirs, and when the night has weight and substance that enters into the soul to bind and veil about it.